So how you guys doing? My name is Toya, and I'm just going to talk about a message that I received, which is standing in your faith. And so when I received that message, standing in your faith, how I got it was I saw faith equaling intuition. So that's basically faith as an intuitive knowing. When you have faith, you intuitively when you have faith, you are intuitively connected to God. And to be connected to God is to be able to have that connection, have that closeness, and then you don't necessarily have to worry so much, because I know a lot of people do worry, but it's a part of having faith, right? Is just trusting the process that no matter how it looks, God got you. Trust in trust in your higher self, and trust in your intuitive knowing, and just trust in the process of what God is telling you. And if you stay in a higher frequency, you're tapped into that collective God consciousness, okay? So we just want to trust that process. One of the things that will help us in the trusting of the process is patience. If you have patience, then you have to have faith. You have to stand in faith, because patience is a part of faith, right? If God is asking you to be patient, then you have no choice but to trust in that. Whatever storms come through, whatever obstacles you have to maneuver, just know that the angels will be with you, and they will help you, guide you through that process, and they will help you get through it. God is always there to help us. So, that's one of the first things as far as standing in faith that we want to do, is just to have patience. Patience to know that, hey, you know what? I got to trust in the process. My intuition is tapped into God. It's hearing from God. And by me having that intuition, my faith, because your faith equals intuition, is telling me that I have to be patient. That is God protecting us. So patience is the first thing when it comes to standing in our faith. The second thing is going to be self-love. And self-love is just knowing thyself, knowing who you are. I always say, who are you, or know who you are, because you got to know who you are and whom's you are, right? Know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, there's a whole lot of people out here that's going to want to tell you who you are. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So have that self-love, and that will push you through, the process of being able to allow God to work in your life, So I say self-love is one of those important factors, because unfortunately everywhere you go, you are there. So love thyself. And not in that crazy way, but love thyself. Just have that self-love for yourself. Self-love, self-respect, having a brain fog, but You know what I mean. So anyway, I'm gonna look at my notes here. It's just, we want to focus that attention on loving and receiving and believing in ourselves, right? But also, we don't want to dwell on our shortcomings either. So just have that self-love and don't worry about things. Like I said, don't dwell on your shortcomings. That's all of this is just a part of faith. We want to be able to have that. We want to be able to, all of this is standing on faith. All of this is trusting the process. All self-love, patience goes together, right? If I have self-love, I have patience. If I have self-love and patience, I have faith. And if my faith is connected to my intuition, then I'm tapped into God. The next thing is going to be commitment. You want to make a commitment to yourself, right? You want to be able to write down tasks that you may want to take care of, things that you need to do. Also, letting go of things that no longer serve you, getting rid of dead weight, are things that are weighing you down. Let's see it like that. But yeah, so just making a commitment to yourself, because if you're able to make a commitment to yourself to say, hey, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this today. Hey, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do that today. Or I'm going to schedule these things to do for my week or throughout my week. That's just making a commitment to yourself, which goes back into self-love, right? Also goes back into patience, because in order to set those commitments, we have to have patience in it. And setting those commitments is a form of having self-love for ourselves. So just understand that this is what I mean by all of these things are connected, and they just kind of flow into being able to stand in faith and understanding why faith equals intuition. The next thing is going to be love, just love in general. Love for self, love for others, right? We want to be that mirror to the world. Well, we are a mirror to the world, right? So what I give out, I would like to reflect back. And typically that's how it goes for me. I give it out and it comes back to me. I'm not gonna say that it always goes like that, because to be honest, some people don't like what you're giving out, because if we are mirrors of each other, then you may be giving out love, and if they don't have that self-love, that can trigger them. So just understand that. But we definitely do want to be that reflection and be that mirror as we're moving along throughout the world. And, by being that mirror, having those commitments that we're doing, showing up in self-love and just being patient in that process, it'll help us to set those strong foundational boundaries as to being able to know that God got this. God got it, baby. And so, and then, as we understand that process and trust that process and know that God got it, then we move into new beginnings, right? And that's why I wanted to talk about the new beginnings, because I went to Disneyland with my brother and my nieces. It was the Sunday after Juneteenth, and they do their parade and their fireworks every single night. And so we took my brother, my sister-in-law, and my nieces. We all went to Disneyland, and we got to watch the fireworks. And during that fireworks show, I actually posted one of the videos. And so one of the videos, it was getting ready to go into a new set of fireworks. And so as it was going into that new set of fireworks, Pooh comes on at the end, and Pooh is like, oh no, can we take it back? And the man tells him, oh, pooh, no, it's time to move forward to the next phase. So basically, once we are being able to stand in that process of patience and self-love, commitment, and being that mirror, it's time to start that new phase, start that new chapter, right? It's time for us to pick up the pen and write our new chapter. What is our new destiny looking like in this chapter? Where are we going? What is the location? What are we doing? Okay. So I like it because it's just, being prepared and being open to meeting new people, going new places, and doing new things. That's what a new beginning is about. What are we about to receive in this chapter as we work on ourselves in patience, self-love, commitment, love, that process of just being able to stand in our faith. What is our new chapter going to be about? And that's where we hold the pen and we write it. We've already set the foundation. So now we just writing it out. This is who I am. Nobody else is telling my story. I'm telling my story. Nobody else is telling me who I am because I know who I am. So that's a part of that new beginning phase. I know who I am, and I'm showing up in the world and allowing the world to see who I am, which flows over into constant changes, right? Everything is constantly changing and evolving, and I like to say we are always evolving, and change is inevitable. Everything changes every single day. This world gonna change whether you hit in it today, tomorrow, or not. So it's that constant evolution that keeps the world going around. So we definitely want to be able to understand that change is a part of that new beginning, but change is also a part of everything that we've been talking about, because without it, we wouldn't be able to move to the next phase. We got this piece, then we move to the next piece. Okay, now we move into this piece. Like, they all work interconnectedly, but it comes with the process of change or leveling up. So through that, and then I'm gonna say the next thing will be just to simplify your life, right? Declutter your mind, declutter your space. When we declutter our space and our mind, we can tap into that intuition and hear from our higher self. We can tap into that high frequency and hear from God. So just being able to, declutter your space, declutter your mind, because if your space is cluttered, then your mind is going to be cluttered, and then you have mental fog. So it just makes it easier. Like right now, I got stuff that I need to organize because I moved, and so I got stuff that need to be put away in certain places, but I don't have everything up and set up yet. But for me to be able to get those things set up and put away, it'll just help with my flow, my daily routine, and my mental fog. I don't want anything dragging on my brain. I want to be able to have that free, clear, open channel. Oh, I hear, from the divine, we good over here, So just being able to kind of just simplify your life in the best way possible. That doesn't mean going and throwing away everything, because some people are trying to tell you that too. That's why I say, when we don't want people to have access to be able to write our stories, we want to write our stories. So nobody can tell you, oh, well, you just need to throw this away and throw that away. No, you know. And be patient in that process. Trust that process. Listen to your intuitive knowing, and you will know the things that you need to get rid of. That's something that's between you and the Most High. And then the last thing about standing in faith is just going to be alignment. This is when our thoughts are manifested into reality, right? We have trusted the divine process, and we are reaping the fruits of our labors, right? So alignment, that is the last thing that I'm going to talk about just being able to stand in faith. And it just brings the entire process full circle, standing in faith, right? Faith as an intuitive knowing, or faith equals intuition. It is trusting the process. Throughout this entire time, we have trusted the process. We've been patient. We learned self-love. We set commitments. We also mirror love. We moved on to the new chapter, knowing that change is going to come because it's inevitable. Simplified our space, simplified our mind, and now we are in alignment. We are ready to receive that manifestation. We're ready to receive the blessings that God has for us. Just a part of, that full alignment process. That's why I said it just brings it all the way back and around, right? So being able to go through the process brings us to the finale, which is receiving. We're on the receiving end. We're on that receiving end the entire time as we're standing in our faith, but it starts with being patient first, and then it moves through a process to alignment. Actually, that's really dope. You starting off by being patient, and then we finish it with an alignment. God be showing up and showing out. Okay. But anyway, I think I'm just gonna leave it there. Peace, love, and light. And until next time, bye.